Yeah, ready when you are, Laura.
Great.
Fernando, a rather serious film pick today and something a bit different from usual. You picked
Yes.
Le Chagrin et la Pitié.
Le Chagrin et la Pitié.
The Sorrow
Indeed,
and the Pity.
Sorrow and pity. Sorrow and pity. Yes.
What did you pick this one for?
Well, I last year finished reading a book called Post War by English historian Tony Judd, and I thought it was great. And in that book, he mentions so many films about the Second World War.
Right.
This was one of them, and I was interested in watching it, so I picked it. Well, I guess initially I picked another film called. We collectively picked another film called Shoha, but then I couldn't initially find it, and then we decided on this one, and yeah, I guess that's the story of me picking this film.
Okay, so we could say it was recommended.
It was recommended by a book.
Brilliant. Are you glad you picked it?
Yes, I'm glad I picked it. Very much interested in history, and I did feel like I learned some things, and I was happy to hear the voices of people that lived through that specific period of time. Yes, I was glad I picked it. Yes.
Right. Maybe we should have the sweep round, see what the others thought. Laura, what did you think?
It was good. A bit dry.
Bit dry, yeah.
A bit long. Could cut a few interviews.
More than 4 hours, yeah.
4 hours 20. Not my ideal Sunday afternoon.
Did you watch it straight?
No, I watched an hour last night, to be fair.
Okay.
But that still left 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
But no, it was good. It was interesting. I didn't know much. I got confused, so I had to pause it after a while and read the Wikipedia page on the French occupation. And that sort of straightened me out, and I knew who were the key players and what was going on from that point.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm not surprised. Claire, what about you?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I found it difficult to watch. I found it really hard to concentrate on everything. As you say, it was quite dry, but I think there was a lot of information, a lot of things I had to work out because, like you, Laura, I just didn't know. I didn't immediately know what side everyone was on, and I had to be working that out while trying to follow the story and listening to or reading the subtitles of English over the French subtitles while there was spoken word in German and French. And yeah, it was an effort to watch, but I'm glad I watched it.
That's how I feel.
It was a poor choice to make this film in a foreign language that nobody speaks.
Yeah, they should have made it in English.
Yeah. Entirely agreed.
They even made the English people speak French. I don't know about that.
That must have been a dub. They've dubbed that. Outrageous insult.
Yeah. Really good lip sync, to be fair.
How about you, Michael?
I think I'd go as far as to say I didn't like it.
Okay.
It was a bad documentary. I think I'm picking up on all of the things that you guys said, but I'm going to say it a bit more confidently. It was boring, and
it was quite boring.
I don't find history boring. I find history, like World War II history documentaries, fascinating, and I've watched many of them for many hours. But this one was kind of tedious. It didn't really set things in context. I think that possibly because of the audience it was intended for, it sort of seemed to assume, well, you know the whole story of the whole resistance, you know who all these people are, so here's just some interviews with a few random people who are just going to say sort of some stuff in no particular order with no particular structure. And yeah, I think they could have cut down some of the interviews drastically. There were some real shaggy dog stories that just didn't go anywhere. And buried in among it, some real gems, some really fascinating little moments and sort of heart-rending stories. There was something in this. But yeah, I'm afraid it wasn't particularly well done.
I bet the director sacked his editor.
Do you
He's
think?
like one of those kinds who's like, "Shut up, man! I don't need to cut anything." You know what you're talking
Okay.
about.
Yeah, the studio begged me to cut it down to less than 3 hours, and I was like, no, I am an artiste.
Michael Young, it seems you did not like this film because it was French.
Well, perhaps. I think in the history of this film club, I've been more pro wanky arty French films, which is not quite what this was. But it being French didn't bother me. I'm going to claim. In fact, I'm going to Brussels soon. It'll be good to. It was good to sort of get a bit of practice in. Obviously we had subtitles on, but I was trying to follow what they were saying and see how it mapped, and it was fun. But unfortunately, that was sort of the game that kept me going through some of the more tedious bits.
I started drawing the people to keep me interested. But also just I was so confused, especially because it took me a long time to start doing that. And sometimes people would crop up and I'd be like, oh, we've seen them before, but I cannot remember who they were or what side they were on. And
well, because it doesn't.
Yeah,
it puts up for about 2 seconds on a little title that says who this person is when they appear, and it's in French, and it's not terrifically helpful.
Yeah, it sort of flashed up. Aristocratic ex-fascist. Remember him, because he'll be coming up a lot.
Yeah.
He was great.
Oh, he didn't stop, did he? Yeah, again, I found him quite interesting to start with. But
these are great pictures.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I know. I think I know who you're talking about.
I have to say, when I was doing it, I did miss some of the subtitles.
You see. Oh, well.
You were otherwise occupied.
Glad you did it.
And they were pretty quick, to be fair.
Oh, I like the British secret agent. That's really captured his glumness.
Yes. Oh, great.
Although not his cat.
No, I started drawing before they showed the shot of his cat, which was a lovely little surprise that he was holding a cat. He was a highlight.
Yeah, he was good.
There were a lot of highlights. There was a lot going for it.
Yeah,
every time I thought I was just going to drift off, some interesting character would come up.
Yeah, I don't think I'd say it was boring. I feel like I think it was a hard watch, but I was invested in a lot of the stories and a lot of the people. I thought they were interesting.
Yeah, a lot of them were interesting. They were just in a sort of meandering, endless, as you say, without much context. I was more interested when I was reading the Wikipedia page. Not a good sign when you're watching a documentary. That should be the thing that's capturing your attention instead of being like, oh, let me just go look this up.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, I mean, aside from anything, there are archives of people talking about their experiences in the war, and the job of a director is to make that into a coherent narrative that teaches you something. And I'm not saying they have to explain every single little thing to me, but it was frustrating thinking, like, hang on, where's Verdun, and what exactly happened in 1941, and who's this person, this one random person you keep referring to, and a couple of maps, a couple of like just introductory, in this year this happened, there was this movement of troops, now let's hear from people. It would have done so much for it.
Yeah.
But perhaps this would not satisfy the vision of the artiste, who was mainly just about shoving a camera deep into someone's face and listening to what they have to say for themselves.
I quite liked how close the camera got sometimes.
It was outrageous how close the camera got sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, bold man after bold man after bold man.
But it felt like it felt like whoever was operating the camera was really trying to like tell you something, because they tended to zoom right in on their face, like when they had something that they were guilty about or whatever. I did feel like, look, we can hear what they're saying. You don't need to like shove it right up their nostrils and be like, look at this Nazi piece of shit lying to you or whatever. Yeah, just I think what it is I mean, this was one thing that pissed me off a bit as well. The interviewer kept interjecting kept interrupting them when they were in the middle of saying something in quite an aggressive way. It reminded me of
sorry for interrupting.
Please go on.
No. He did say sorry for interrupting.
Oh, yeah. And then he kept doing it. Sorry for interrupting. And then he would usually say something that's not all of that, not all that relevant and not all that appropriate. One time he interrupted to call them out on a misuse of statistics, which I thought was really good. But other times it was just like, oh, you're not saying the thing I want you to say for the film. Just trying to persuade them to give him the soundbite he wants. It reminded me of the like pathetic loser of an interviewer in Masculin Féminin, interviewing the women and just asking them loads of belligerent questions and not really respecting them or listening to their answers, just making it all about themselves.
Must
and
be
a great
French
interviewer. Thing. Yeah, mate, I was genuinely wondering, is this a French thing? Is this how the French do interviews and documentaries and stuff? But surely not.
I didn't. It felt. I mean, they would wander on. He must have been there for hours and hours. And hours.
I suppose so.
Just got to the point, and he still ended up with a 4.5-hour film. So he didn't do it as well as he could. I'd say he should have been interrupting a lot more.
Well, he should let them speak and then cut the clip down to just the bit that's relevant, right?
Or write a script and make a proper film.
Yes, just get Tom Hanks to do it.
That you want to say, and you're a filmmaker, you can do that. You could write a film and then film it, and then it would just be what you want to say, and you wouldn't have to bother with all these people trying to tell you their life story.
Exactly.
I liked how a lot of the interviews were done just with random spectators.
I like that.
We'll invite the family round for this interview where we discuss that time you killed a man. That'll be good for them.
Yeah. So like you guys are saying, I lost track of it. Was one of them at a wedding?
Yep. The German one was a wedding.
The German one was a wedding. What a weird decision.
Former Wehrmacht captain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was the father of the bride.
I think so. It? Yeah.
Which, like, shit.
Very accommodating.
Yeah, Laura, when you asked if we'd done anything differently at our wedding,
have one of the parents film a documentary where he talks about all the Nazi shit he did during the war. Just, what was he? And everyone was very visibly uncomfortable around him. While we're at it, what the hell was up with that guy? His former Wehrmacht captain wearing his Nazi medals to a wedding.
The people that don't wear them are the
1968.
people that didn't have them.
Yeah, what an outrageous thing to say. I couldn't believe it. And
he's not wrong. I'm not wearing my Nazi medals, and I don't have any.
I bet there were people who won medals in the Third Reich who didn't wear them to their daughter's wedding 20 years later.
Almost all the people that don't wear Nazi medals are people who didn't win Nazi medals.
Yeah.
Almost all of them. I think close enough that you can generalise to everyone.
Yeah, you're right. He was bang on the money with his smug face and his cigar, sitting back and coming out with this outrageous stuff like, oh yeah, they just didn't realise that they were running away because they didn't realise we were there to help them when we invaded France. Oh right. I couldn't believe that I kind of couldn't believe he was allowed to say what he was saying. And that he wasn't arrested after this film was published.
Because thought that.
60s in West Germany, you were not allowed to be a neo-Nazi.
Nazi, yeah.
That's not even neo-Nazi, isn't it? That's original Nazi.
OG Nazi.
Yeah. Just acting like all of this stuff never happened. Yeah, baffling. At least the guy in Lederhosen was showing some kind of awareness of what had happened. But
bonsoir, mademoiselle.
Yes.
Voulez-vous
faire une promenade avec moi? Oh yeah, dear me. But I did think, again, so I don't really know. If there was an important message that I got from watching this film, it was that a lot of these extreme right Nazi ideologies didn't disappear as soon as the war ended.
Mm.
There were some of the
disappeared.
They never disappeared. Yeah. Well, those people are all dead now, so at least it's But that's it. It seemed like a bit of a look that there are people who still have these views. This hasn't gone away, and that people, quite some of them being almost straightforwardly open about it, like the Wehrmacht captain, and others, the French who were just sort of a bit moderate and. Of course, we went out with some of the German soldiers. They were handsome and all of that. I tended to imagine that by the time we were in the late 60s, everyone would act like they were in the resistance all along, and that very few people would be willing to say, "Oh yeah, I supported the Vichy president." And I still do. Yeah, concerning.
I really got my eyes open to how ignorant I am about this period of history. I didn't know most of this. I knew a bit, but not like the extent to which I guess I knew that they collaborated, but how deeply rooted the anti-Semitism was in France. And that they were publishing laws, and I didn't know about all those, some of the stuff was absolutely horrific. Yeah,
dreadful.
Like all those children, the 4,000 children or something they said. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, it was just part of the Nazi Empire, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. It was, even if it wasn't on paper.
It was the French.
Yeah. Yeah, it was quite chilling how much of it just came from the French themselves.
Yeah.
It was pretty unsettling how grim the payback was after it was all over.
Yeah, and how sort of guerrilla that was. How sort of kangaroo court.
Yeah.
All of that was.
Yeah, I tended to imagine that they threw a load of people in prisoner of war camps and then sorted them out through the courts one at a time, did everything nobly after de Gaulle was back. But no, I guess there was a load of, there was un terreur for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was something to be said for the film, if only it gave us that.
Do you think you'd have joined the resistance?
Oh, this is what I was thinking about for like half of the film, was just, would I have done that? Would I not have done that?
Okay, here's a history one. What would you have done in France in the war? Would you have joined the resistance or not?
I'm not getting into that.
Oh, you want to though, don't you? I've tickled your historical G-spot.
I feel like I would have done, but I bet there's a lot of people who feel like they would have done, and actually they'd be too scared when the time comes, or they'd talk themselves out of it somehow. And there's probably not many people who are like, "Oh no, I'd be too scared," but who actually, when the time comes, would do it.
I'd be the one who, that guy being like, "Oh, they kept telling me they didn't know how to get in touch with the resistance." That'd be me.
Yeah.
I see.
Incompetent.
I've tried nothing and it's still not working.
Nobody's come to my door. Where are the leaflets?
If they're going to make it this difficult, then I'm not interested. I'll just stay at home, eat my sauerkraut.
I don't think I would have joined the resistance, because I was also thinking about that, and I thought that if Mexico were to be in a war, like soon in my lifetime, I would not join the Mexican army to defend Mexico. I would just go somewhere else. I would go to Cuba and try to survive.
Okay, we've got one for self-preservation.
One for self-preservation.
Would you have been on the boat to Morocco, Fernando?
I would have been on the boat to Antarctica. Yes.
Suppose you got trapped in the country though, and you couldn't figure out how to get out of Mexico.
How trapped? I would just walk to the ocean and then swim.
Okay. So we got one for suicide. How about you, Laura?
I like to think that I would do the right thing.
which
think I
is
might be
to
able to
Okay.
escape
hard,
or
though.
what?
Little accountability club, Laura. If it all comes to it, you and I are both joining the resistance together.
Don't give a laugh.
No, okay.
All right, well, we'll try. We'll try.
We'll try.
You put the feelers out, though.
I'll put
And you
the
let me
feelers
know.
out. You send a letter of denunciation
Yeah.
to the authorities.
I've got my cat to think about as well.
Yeah, so this is it, isn't it? And that was how they scared people. They said, you've got a family, and
Yeah.
we fuck up your family as well.
I also didn't realise how great a time the aristocratic sort of class had it. Just went to parties all the time, the opera, the races, had a bloody ball.
Naked dancing shows.
Yeah.
La France.
I've never been to a show where women spin on plastic horses with their tops off.
Yeah.
But I want to go.
When you've been to 3 or 4, it just gets pretty old.
Yeah. How do you make that new once you've seen it a few times?
Yeah, exactly. This was part of Hitler's strategy, right? Was present Germany as modern and cultured, and this was the thing in The Sound of Music, right? They had the big music festival to show everyone that under the Third Reich, everything will be the same, and we celebrate the superior culture. And they used that to hide, in a way, what they were doing. A few exciting parties to make everyone get people on board, right?
The aristocratic are always willing to shut their eyes to
I fear you're right.
aspects. That's what I'm gathering from my new TV show Succession.
I see. Which I've heard is quite good.
It's very good.
It's so
Recommend.
good. It's so good.
What else about this film?
Why do you think he made it like this? What do you think he was trying to do? The maker, whoever had ultimate control.
Why did he make it so long and not have any narrative?
Yeah, why have no context, no... sorry, I'm so tired. Words just aren't happening.
My fear is because that's the artistic thing to do.
Okay.
Isn't it cool if you can say, oh, and the whole thing was just the interviews with the people and there was nothing else to go with it at all. It was all just real people telling their stories.
I think there's something to be said for trying to be subtle with a documentary. It's trying to just get there with juxtaposition. It just gives these different people's viewpoints and you piece together the story yourself, hopefully with a bit of historical background knowledge. I'm guessing the director thought.
Yeah, so if he presents these interviews without comment, he can't be accused of trying to tell you one side of this, or...
Yeah, it's not overly heavy. But the viewpoint came through, I thought. It wasn't...
we heard his voice saying this stuff, didn't we?
I don't hate that approach. I just don't have the patience for a 4.5 hour documentary that is told in this way.
Yeah. Right, so here's one for you. Peter Jackson of Lord of the Rings fame made a film a few years ago called They Shall Not Grow Old, which was about the First World War. And there wasn't a single word in it except actual voices from archive recordings of First World War veterans recounting their experiences. And the pictures were real footage from the First World War, from the early video cameras that they had at the time, many of which he'd touched up to colorize them and make them look more modern. And he did all of that with that constraint, but he used it to tell a story. He started with the interviews that talked about the outbreak of the war, and then interviews about people joining the army, interviews about people's first impressions on the front, and then developed onto people's interviews in the impressions in the Somme, and thematically and historically, it went through and told a story in a particular order, and he just weaved it and edited it seamlessly. And I mean, these interviews were actually conducted like 50 years before he was born, so he had no control over that. He just did what he could with the archive footage. And he did such a good job of that. And I couldn't help thinking of that as I was watching this. And just thinking, why is this so scattered?
Yeah, so I suppose they made an attempt to organise it into the two parts. What was the first one? Something, and the second one was the choice, wasn't it?
The collapse, I think.
The collapse and the choice. But it didn't feel... Yeah. I couldn't have told you which interviews were in which section for the most part.
Yeah, it was a vaguely it was pretty chronological, but I think the whole premise of it, of trying to capture, everyone and their mum's experiences, might have detracted from building a coherent narrative. He certainly wasn't focused on the key players.
No.
Even though he had a few interviews with key political people, which was quite interesting.
That was very interesting.
But again, it was a couple of random ones that seemed to be like based on who he could get. He must have been, wow, Anthony Eden's doing it. Nailed it. We're going to get everything out of him that we can. Shame we couldn't get, Neville Chamberlain or Winston Churchill or whoever, probably because they were dead.
It's a bit selfish of them.
Yeah. I did like the Brits.
Yeah.
Anthony Eden was good, very good French.
Wonderful French.
Good on him, what a statesman.
Il y a une autre chose qu'on ne comprend pas entièrement aujourd'hui sur la position de Gaulle et de la France libre. Il y avait à Londres, à ce moment-là, en Angleterre, plusieurs gouvernements étrangers. Plusieurs. Mais ils étaient tous des gouvernements.
Yeah, hot. 10 years after his sort of disastrous fall from grace with the affair in Egypt, but there we go. It felt like he was the voice of the British government from the time, and that was interesting. And then the bloody the RAF pilot with his moustache.
That was fun. Yeah,
I was shot down in the war. Met some of these French chappies.
Cut our boots, make shoes.
The only reason I knew he was a smoker was he was nicking me fag ends. Brilliant. So good.
Why did they dub over those parts? They're in English, you idiots.
According to Eden's Wikipedia page, as a child, Eden was said to have spoken better French than English.
Wow.
Huh.
Learned his French and German on continental holidays.
Not bad.
Don't know who said that, but someone did.
What a waste of time.
You're just learning some made-up language instead of just talking extra loudly in English like you're supposed to do when you go abroad.
Who was your favourite? Do you remember? I look back through my book.
Well, it was the RAF pilot because it was funny.
Yes.
I quite liked the second old resistance farmer
Me too.
with the hat. The one who talked a bit less and had more facial hair, but just put in the odd word and grinned. Really liked him.
Yeah.
I thought the ex-fascist was interesting.
I was compelled by his
mostly by the glasses.
I just hated him so much.
Yeah,
really?
Awesome. I mean, he was...
Oh, sorry, you mean the aristocratic ex-fascist?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He didn't do much for me. He said a lot of stuff I wasn't that interested in.
Really, I found what he was saying quite interesting. Don't remember any of it now, but, maybe it was the glasses. I was bewitched. Very 60s look about him.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Very fashionable. A la
Austin
mode.
Powers, villain. I did quite like the guy that was a pharmacist and had invited his kids around.
7.5 children.
Yeah, it was.
There was one quote near the beginning that struck me as odd when, I can't remember who was talking, but they said when they were talking about the lines of people evacuating or the refugees or something, they brought what they could. Children, pets, luggage. That's not how you speak about children. So they're just bags that they picked up on their way out of the door.
If I hadn't a spare hand, I'd have had to leave them behind.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd bring my cat. I'd be
that's where I
separated from my cat.
Okay, so you definitely bring the cat.
Yeah, I assume you feel the same about Heather. You can bring her along.
Yeah, bring her along.
Yeah.
Well, she can walk now. We'll just tell her to come with us.
No, Daddy. No more.
Start fussing.
No, thank you very much, Daddy.
I want a banana.
Sorry, we do this. We shouldn't do this around other people, Michael.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, it is fun.
Anyway, you're right that that was a weird line. And again, if I was going to be an interviewer that was willing to interrupt people during their conversations, I might have just said, "What exactly do you mean by that?" Then just ask them to clarify. Like,
do some people leave their children?
Hone in on that. Whereas he was probably just thinking, "Oh, he hasn't said the thing I wanted to say yet." Oh God, how bloody heavy-handed was it? With and one person, as we found in this newspaper article, put out an advert saying he wasn't Jewish. We found him, and we're going to put him on the spot and nail him.
Oh, I liked that
20
bit.
years later. Oh,
I thought that was
interesting.
interesting. Get him.
It could have been interesting, but that the guy wasn't particularly trying to hide it. So they even did this, "Oh, you've done your homework, haven't you?" But it wasn't particularly a gotcha, as if they got him to say, "Oh, I was against it all along, and I never." He was like, "Oh yeah, we put out that advert because loads of people thought I was Jewish, and they were arresting Jews, so we put out an advert that said that I wasn't." And the interviewer was like, "So what about those Jews who served in the First World War? Eh? What do you think of them?" I was like, "Well, look, I told you. And it was just such a failed. I would have thought he would have left that attempt being like, okay, that was with just some random butcher who is not anything to anyone, and I didn't even get a particularly good reaction or line from him." But instead, he just thought, "I'm going to put the whole thing in. I'm going to put me badgering him and me trying to persuade him to say something that he wasn't going to say." And like he had struck a blow against the Nazis or something. And he could have done something really useful there and said, been understanding, listened to what he had to say and say, "So, do you feel now that you were part of the problem?" But instead he was just like, "So, that just seemed so poor and so immature as a filmmaking thing." And there's a time for a bit of an aggressive interview style as well, like if someone's trying to evade you, but it felt like those guys on that BBC Three programme, The Revolution Will Be Televised, where they open it by being like, "Oh, we found someone who we think is a hypocrite and we're going to nail them on the camera." Yeah.
I think he was trying to expose the man's underlying anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
Which is a worthy thing to do, because it does seem like an action that is couched in some anti-Semitism to proclaim that you're not Jewish at a time when all the Jews are being arrested.
Yeah,
I mean, it's driven by obviously fear and self-preservation.
Exactly, and he just utterly failed to explore that. He got as far as they were like, I was in danger of being arrested for being Jewish, which I wasn't, so I told everyone I wasn't. And there's something to be explored there if you do it thoughtfully and ask someone, how do you feel about that now, looking back, or anything like that. But he didn't do that at all. Yeah, I agree with you. There's something interesting in that story, and there's a lot to be said. And the documentary did say a lot about how ordinary people made things worse. But yeah, just what a squandered opportunity, the way he went about it. And meanwhile, he's got this Wehrmacht captain showing off his Nazi medals, and he's just letting him smoke this cigar and occasionally being like, some people don't wear their medals. And never said, like, okay, we've been talking for 3 hours now. Like, how do you feel about all the people you murdered? Instead, he's going after this butcher who took out an advert in the paper. I didn't get it. But again, if there was some more of a thread that I could understand here, some more, something that put this all in context, maybe to sort of explain what he was trying to do. Very poor.
I think the point was to don't know. But obviously, like, there's no point in having a debate with a Nazi in some senses. The Nazi's trying to justify himself, and in doing so, we can see what a monstrous person he was.
You're right. He didn't have to say anything, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one, all the other people who are just shifting and saying that there needs to be guilt and accountability, but they won't take, nobody's taking it on. It's just something that happened in the past, and everybody's shifting and looking very uncomfortable and kind of being like, well, I was just doing my, I had to do it this way. And, so he's not going head on to tackle, maybe he should have, as you say, been a bit more, try to tease that out so that he can actually get it, instead of just being like,
I think maybe it's just coming down to him failing to edit down at all and just basically using everything he filmed, because it just seemed to me that what he did was an interesting approach, but it opened with, this guy took out this advertisement and now we're going to talk to him, and that was the start of the interview, and at the end I hadn't learned anything more.
Yeah, that's true.
But he might as well have just said, and this guy's still working, even though we've now had the liberation, and he was part of the problem in that way. But instead he had this rambling interview which didn't really go anywhere, and I don't know.
He was gesturing towards, you're complicit in the demonization of Jewish people, do you not see, by making the liberation. Maybe that's his job, to just gesture to things and be provocative and let people respond. It didn't work here, though. I see what you mean.
Yeah, it just failed, and he could have just cut the interview and just said, here are 3 examples of people who were clearly doing something that was collaborationist or going along with anti-Semitism, and they're still working. Or else, what I'd have liked to see was, like the Frost-Nixon interviews, where, what's he called, David Frost, managed to get, not by being aggressive and not by having a point to try and make, but by inviting the speaker to express themselves freely, actually got Richard Nixon to admit something that he'd never admitted to, like, dozens of government inquiries and stuff, by putting them at their ease and allowing them to speak and subtly directing them and just exploring ideas with them. Great interviewers do that, and it's much better to see. It's the difference between Michel Hussein and John Humphreys. If you ever listen to the Today programme on Radio 4, John Humphreys would go straight in with, like, start of the interview, but isn't it true that your party are all a bunch of lying, whatever. I'm trying to think what he could say that's broadcastable. He'd immediately go on the offensive, because that's how you attack people, and the politicians just clam up and don't say anything. Michel Hussein allows them to speak, challenges them if they're saying something that doesn't make sense or that's wrong, but then she just asks questions which are reasonable questions, and that actually makes it harder for them to get out of, and actually reveals something. That was what I was wanting from this, because what I was getting was, like, the guy in Masculine Feminine saying, "Why are you such an airheaded bimbo?" and just not getting anything useful out of it. But I don't know.
I think it was worth including. I wouldn't have cut it. It's such an ordinary thing. It's not a great act of collaboration. It's someone defending themselves, but in doing so, justifying, horrendous prejudice.
I guess I'd have included it as well, given what else he had to work with, and if he was going to make it 4 hours long, that was not the weakest 5 minutes of it by a long way. And it was a story worth telling for sure. I just wish he'd done it better.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I do think you're being a lot harsher on the film than I would. I feel.
Fair enough.
I think I feel like there were lots of different experiences. He didn't pick two sides. It was a spectrum, wasn't it, of people and how they engaged, and I think that was an interesting position. That's probably the position I most associated with. Like, I wouldn't really want much to do with it, but if people were persecuting me, I'd want to clear my name. It's not that I don't like Jews, it's just that I wouldn't want them to think I was one if they were going to go kill me for being one.
Really? You think you'd publish a thing saying, I'm not Jewish?
I think I'd probably try and defend myself if there was a persecuted group that they thought I was part of.
Yeah, if there's a chance you're going to disappear tomorrow night and be sent to a concentration camp, I can see why people would do that.
No, it's not at all, but it's a mark of self-preservation.
Yeah.
In a life-threatening situation. Yeah. Yeah, I have no pride at all. I know that I don't think I'd try and do anything actively evil, but I'd try and defend myself. And that's where
complicit though. Then you're complicit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
So
I suspect I would be because I'd be terrified.
Look, since we're stuck in here, you might as well answer my question about the French resistance.
I don't know, Jeremy. It would have been a terribly difficult time, but I would probably have kept my head down.
You're kidding. I totally would have joined up.
Well, that's very easy to say, Jeremy, but you would have risked death, not just for yourself, but for your family.
I'd probably have just got in a train to Berlin and taken Hitler down. Poof, whole thing's over.
Well, I guess we'll never know for sure.
Oh, I know. I definitely know. No question about it.
Well, congratulations. You would have been a brave, brave man.
I like to think I'd be the hero and join the resistance and be sabotaging all over the place, but probably just be trying to keep my head down and go unnoticed.
Do you feel you learned a sufficient amount about this period of history through the documentary, Fernando?
I feel like I've learned a sufficient amount of the history through the book that I read, and some of the things that I learned from the book are reflected in the documentary. So I completely agree with all of you in saying that maybe this documentary needed a little bit more explaining, because I felt like I understood, and I immediately felt like I understood some things, not because I was watching them in documentary, but because I had read a book on the history of Europe beforehand. And some of the things that were said in the book, for example, why some of the women were punished. I think that the documentary did not explain that. Then basically the population in occupied territories were ravaged by poverty, and sometimes the women would date like the occupiers because they would need food to survive, and that's what the Germans would give them. So it's not that they were betraying their countries, it's that they wanted to survive. So sometimes they were given money, sometimes they were given food, and that's why they did it, not because they were traitors, or at least not inherently traitors. Maybe this was not the best documentary, but I still thought it was it is good because it is preserving evidence of something that happened around that time. So I wouldn't wish any of the interviews to go away simply because it's preserving some things that were said in the past. It's history, I guess, and had this documentary not existed, we would not have seen all these people
That's true.
expressing their thoughts, however outrageous they are.
Outrageous. And meandering.
Yes. Would you feel the same if it was 15 hours long?
Yeah, I would have watched it. As in, I'm still going to watch Shoha, which is 9.5 hours long, and it's also French.
I've heard it's even slower paced than this.
That's fine. That is fine.
So you're going to read a book, essentially. You're just going to read subtitles for 9 hours. It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yes. Well, as in, to be fair, it took me more than 9 hours to read the whole post-war, so... Yes, I'm willing to invest 9 hours. Especially because there's sound and also, like, images, so it's slightly more entertaining than just reading a book.
That's true. A feast for the senses. I've had some sympathy for people who struggle with subtitles when I was watching this, because I did the same thing. I found my concentration waning a little bit because of all the overlaying and the rapid French and I just couldn't keep up sometimes.
So much trouble. Yeah.
Is this how people feel when they watch any subtitled film? I sort of get it now.
I watch all films with subtitles, even
so do I.
Even the films that are in Spanish, I watch them with English subtitles in case I don't understand what is being said. So I guess I'm perhaps more used to reading subtitles. I don't know.
I think it's a thing now.
It's a thing now?
People have gotten very into having subtitles on, even when the thing's in the language that they speak. I don't know why that is. But yeah, I do that as well.
Yeah. No, I like someone saying the words to me. I like to watch with my eyes closed. Catch 40 winks while I'm watching it. No, I thought it was quite interesting in its own way, this film.
Had a lot of moments of interest.
Yeah.
And some of
I'm glad
not
you
interest.
did not hate it.
I really didn't hate it, yeah.
Excellent.
I would say I quite liked it, actually.
I find all documentaries boring, so this one was not.
I'm always resistant to documentaries.
Oh, well, in that case, I will recommend a documentary to you, both of you. And maybe you will hate it. But recently I watched a 7.5 hour documentary about O.J. Simpson.
Oh, yes.
O.J. Made in America. And I thought it was so good. So maybe that's the best example of a documentary.
On the advert, I just think, could you look your Jewish neighbours in the eyes?
Oh no, I'd absolutely, I'm not, this isn't something I'm proud of, that I would hate myself.
I see what you're saying, yes, I just felt I hadn't communicated why I thought it was so despicable.
Yeah, yeah, it's just awful, but I think my instinct for self-preservation would overtake my instinct for not being a dick.
I see. Okay, I think we're on the same page. That makes sense. Maybe I would as well then.
I would like the record to show that I'm not a dick. I'm just willing to accept that I would behave as a dick if it was surviving. I think that makes me a dick, doesn't it? Oh God, I don't know. No, I'd join the resistance and be amazing and really noble.
Exactly.
I mean, I like to joke a
That's
lot
it, you could just lie about it.
Nazi collaborator because I'm such a people pleaser. Or just generally gormless. Gormless enough to not be able to
I would like to officially change my answer and say that I would join the resistance and die for the cause of fighting.
Okay. It's quite a U-turn. But...
Yeah, me too.
I'm glad we had this conversation. I think if I joined the resistance, I would probably still have outwardly tried to look like I was not in the resistance, right?
I feel like that was part of it, though.
Naturally, it's a secret thing.
Yeah. You were bad at being in the resistance.
Not me. I would have been explicit. I would have worn resistant uniform and say, I'm part of the resistance and I'm resisting you, Nazis.
Yeah. One thing I was thinking with the butcher or whatever taking out the advert, I was thinking that seems like a really callous, nasty thing to do. And then I thought, so what if they hadn't done that and a Nazi officer had walked in with a gun and said, "Hey, I've heard you're Jewish, are you?" Is he somehow the honourable, noble thing to say would be, well, who cares whether I'm a Jew or not? It shouldn't make a difference. And then just get shot. Whereas I think anyone would say, no, I'm not. Please look at my family tree.
I don't think you could say anyone, because some people did die during the Holocaust because they did the right thing. You know,
I don't know if that even counts as doing the right thing, though. That would be sort of dying for nothing. Yeah, who was he going to convince by getting deported to a concentration camp? What was he going to change?
It's different saying it when someone's standing in front of you with a gun, and it's different being proactive about it and taking out a newspaper ad. Like I was, my point was,
I wonder if he felt there was so much of a difference, whether he was fearing that tonight might be the night that someone just takes him in the middle of the night and sends him to Poland.
I feel there's a clear rationale for it. I'm not disputing that, but the example I gave was you couldn't look your Jewish neighbours in the eyes after that, could you?
Yeah.
There's a shame. There's something deeply, deeply shameful about looking after yourself in a way that puts other people. You know, it's
it adds to the whole culture of anti-Semitism for sure. So I hope I wouldn't have done it, but I can see why they would. It's hard for me to judge them for that. I could see how pissed off the resistance were, because if everybody had decided that they were going to, start a guerrilla war, that it wouldn't have taken long to not. I mean, having said that, they did lose in a conventional war against the Germans, so it wouldn't have been pretty, this sort of fighting to the last man, and a lot more people in France would have died. But there's a case for the never surrender thing, right? Especially when you're fighting against something like the Nazi Germany.
Yeah. I can also see, when it's such a smooth transition of power, not smooth because obviously there was violence, but quick. Very quick, your government is collaborating, and you're not under immense pressure of being in an immediate war zone where you could choose to take up arms and fight against them. Rather, everything's just going on as normal, and suddenly there's just Germans everywhere. Your first thought might be, well, I'll keep the cafe running so that I can keep feeding my family.
Yeah, exactly.
Can somebody please explain to me the interview with one of the last interviews with the old lady? But I can't even remember what happened to her. I think she was a denouncer, or she was denounced.
Madame Solange.
Yes. Was she a good person? Was she a bad person?
She claims her friend set her up. So her friend wrote a letter of denunciation in her hand. And all the denouncers were arrested and jailed and executed. And that included her, because there was a letter of denunciation that looked like she'd written it.
But she was also pro-Pétain.
She was pro-Pétain.
And thought that he had great ideas, and still thinks he had great ideas.
I don't know about politics, but I do like him.
Yep. I thought it was a great example of the cognitive dissonance of...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I tell you what made me feel a bit sick. Seeing this, they described this backlash and this awful stuff they were doing to women who dated German soldiers and stuff. And then this woman was telling her story that she was not guilty of the thing that she was accused of, and there hadn't been a proper trial, and this and that. And the way they were trying to make it sound like she was guilty really stuck in my craw a bit. I didn't care much for that. Like they were maybe trying to catch out yet another one of these collaborators 20 years later, and I couldn't help but think, does it seem like this woman's maybe suffered enough? But no, you're gonna zoom the camera in on her fidgeting fingers, saying, "Oh, isn't she nervous? Looks like she's got something to hide, doesn't it?" And then saying, so that these people who supported you in the courtroom, would you say that they had a certain characteristic that joined them up? Did they all maybe have some particular political persuasion? I thought, come on. Do we need to be doing this assassination job on her now? Given that you don't know whether she was telling the truth or not, and we just don't know. But to do her like that, I didn't like that at all.
Well, maybe this documentary wasn't as well done as I initially thought it was, because I finished watching the film and I thought it was a good film, and now.
I hope I've not ruined it for you.
Well, you've just opened my eyes to a different way of looking at the interviewer and the people that were interviewed. And
I've been criticising it a lot. I didn't completely hate this film. I thought it had many good features, and it had a really powerful message to tell that came through. So I don't want to. I've been focusing on bad stuff disproportionately, I think.
You think that I should absolutely watch the other documentary that you mentioned, the They Shall Not Grow Old, I think?
Yes, I think it's on a different topic, of course, but it's. I think that's a good way of showing how to tell a story in a more balanced way with that's just made up of interviews. Yeah.
I will watch it then.
Something else I would recommend if you got 40 hours or so is The World at War, which was The World at War. It's a British documentary series from the early 70s. And it was somehow fairly seminal. It was maybe three series of hour-long documentaries about the Second World War, tackling all different angles of it.
4 parts. Oh no, actually many parts. 26 parts.
Yeah. So it's like in 4 series, I think, over a few years. So it was a TV show really. But that's narrated by Laurence Olivier and shows you things on maps and tells the story of the war from the start. And they've got like an episode on the French occupation and an episode on the Battle of Britain and an episode on the Blitz and an episode on attitudes towards the Japanese and that kind of there's lots of different. So I'm sure there was one on the French resistance. But for all of them, they have Laurence Olivier giving you some background, telling you, sort of creating some drama, but also setting context. And there are many, many interviews with people who were there. Yeah, highly recommend it. Except it's very long, of course.
Wow. Well, thank you for the recommendation. Last question. What did you think of the cat?
Good cat.
In the documentary.
Very good cat. The highlight of the film.
I'm glad he stroked it.
I like how they zoomed in on all the cat hairs on his clothes as well. This is a man who really does love his cat. This isn't just for the interview.
So unforgiving camera work yet again.
Yeah. Oh, we've not talked about Maurice Chevalier and his excellent end to the film, singing in English without the piano.
Ladies and gentlemen, some time ago they said in the newspapers and the radio that I had been killed. Yes, they said once that I had been killed in a railroad accident. Then they said that I had been shot by the Gestapo. Then they said that I had been shot by the Patriots. Then they said that I had been shot by the militias. Yes. Well, you see, for a man who's been shot so many times, I don't look so bad, eh?
Please forgive me, I do not play the piano, but I will sing for you.
Should we wrap this baby up?
Yeah, no other thoughts from me, but I'm sorry I was too negative. It wasn't a completely terrible film.
No, it was good to...
I'm glad we watched it as well.
Good to have contrasting views, I think. I thought we weren't going to have much to say about this film.
I'll get back to you on whether I would have joined the Resistance.
Yeah, well, maybe we won't have long to wait and see.
You would have created the Resistance, Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah, should we go even further and make a pact to create our own resistance?
Yes.
Brilliant. Our own secret resistance.
Yeah.
Secret resistance club.
Just be us and all the people who listen to the podcast.
Really secret
So that should keep it under wraps.
should we even be more proactive and just right now go and fight in Ukraine? Because that's the right thing to do.
I suppose there you're quite right. Aren't we all hypocrites? Look at us not doing anything about all the injustices in the world. It's just too big.
Yeah. Could we already be doing more as it is?
Right, here we go. Ready?
Ready?
Ready.
Ready.
I'm ready.
Me too.
I'm
Great.
also ready.
Excellent. Post. Oh, great. It looks like by 2-1, Riders of Justice.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. No, I'm
Whoa,
overruling.
Claire.
We're watching Flash Gordon.
Excellent.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I can't believe you wouldn't be in the resistance with me. I'm really disappointed in you.
I can only apologise.
Don't apologise to me. Apologise to Europe.